Hey, this is Shannon, Kringen, Goddess Kring. The lens is right. Yeah, the lens is right there. This is a note to self. I've mostly been posting videos on my YouTube channel about my art car, but I want to talk about my autism assessment. Um, According to mainstream psychology, I do fit on the spectrum of autism, and I'm a highly sensitive person, and I have had a lot of problems in my life with anxiety and being sensitive, sensory sensitive. And I have synesthesia. I see shapes when I hear music. That's not a problem, though. That's just an unusual thing about my mind. It's not a problem. But I feel misunderstood a lot of the time when I try to explain myself. Like I'm wanting to connect with people and be understood. And I feel like it's kind of a miracle that I'm the master at compensating from what I'm bad at with what I'm good at. And being an art model for 30 years makes sense to me why I gravitated towards an art related job. I have a lot of artistic talent, but I've never really found my niche or my niche or whatever they say. And I'm good at imitating voices. My brain is scattered all over the place, but I keep wanting to make a video where I slow down and relax and I talk about my life story and how my mom put me in alternative school where nobody picked on me. And there was an emphasis on creativity and individuality, because right now in the world, I see this de-emphasis on individuality and this overemphasis on what category everybody fits into, little boxes of, I'm not even going to say the words, but all the words we're asked to describe ourselves and tell people what box we fit into. Okay, so the box I fit into is highly sensitive, introverted, extrovert, performance artist, multimedia, autistic artist. That's my box. What's your box? I'm also left-handed, and I have synesthesia. I see shapes and textures when I hear music, in my head. I don't hallucinate out in front of my body. In my head, I sense music as visual, and Tori Amos has talked about this. And there's pros and cons to being the way that I am. And I've mentioned how much I like Temple Grandin before, and I've gotten some nasty comments from people calling me narcissistic or calling me, saying, how dare I compare myself to Temple Grandin, because Temple Grandin is kind of a genius. She has a PhD, and there's a movie about her starring Claire Danes, the actress Claire Danes, about her story. If you don't know who Temple Grandin is, look her up. She's a fascinating autistic woman who's highly intelligent, who has a PhD in animal behavioral science. She's one of my favorite people on the planet, Temple Grandin. I've been posting a lot about my art car, and my favorite artists are Yayoi Kusama from Japan and Hundertwasser from Austria, Gustav Klimt and Gaudi, and those are some of my favorite artists, and Australian Aboriginal artists that I don't know the names of, but I am a very sensitive person, but my brain is very chaotic. If you want to know what my brain looks like on the inside, just look at my art car, which I call Opal Moonstone. So I think I want to talk about that, the fact that I am proud of myself for figuring out how to survive in this world and finding a niche for myself, because I'm really good at certain things and really bad at other things. And it seems like what I'm good at is compensating for whatever I'm bad at. I compensate. My social skills are not so hot. I get shy and overwhelmed and overstimulated by other people, and I feel competitive and defensive and all kinds of weird things socially. And I can read other people, I think, but they can't seem to read me. And so I don't always, it's hard to explain, but the reason why I'm comfortable being an art model, and I've art modeled for over 30 years now, is because, and you could say, well, that's boring, Shannon, you've art modeled for 30 years. Why don't you find a better career? I even went to Antioch University in Seattle and got my BA degree. But then I've never figured out how I could even use my BA degree, because I've never really wanted a normal career. What would that be? The only thing I can imagine is getting my Master of Fine Arts degree, but then that would be for teaching. But then do I want to teach in the university system? No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think I fit into the mainstream university system at all. So art modeling is good for me because I get paid to not make eye contact. I get paid to just sit still and stare at the wall. I mean, literally, it's appropriate Most jobs, if you don't look and make eye contact, it would be inappropriate. They'd be like, come on, make eye contact. My job as an art model is to sit and stare off into space and pick a spot to look at on someone's easel or on the wall or something, and just be still and let them draw and paint, and not have a kind of ego. I don't have the kind of ego that stops me from modeling in front of people, not wearing any clothing. And, I don't look so hot from certain angles, and I look great from other, I look kind of good and kind of not so good depending on the angle. And as I get older, my skin's getting all wrinkly, and I don't even care. Like, I model, I get paid, and I don't look perfect. And so I have the perfect kind of ego that is okay with not looking perfect and letting people stare at me and draw me and paint me, and it's totally fine. And I earn a living doing something that I'm comfortable doing, even if it sometimes is physically painful to hold still and sometimes boring. It saved me. They say that the Department of Labor, I don't really buy into mainstream statistics, but it says on the Department of Labor website that 85% of autistic adults with a college degree are unemployed. So the fact that I have a BA degree and I'm supposedly on the autism spectrum because I've been officially assessed with several hours of testing and questionnaires and assessments that they do, I have been employed my entire life since I was 17 years old. I'm a workaholic. I love to work. In fact, I'm much better at my work life. One of my special interests, if I'm autistic, one of my special interests aside from Tom Petty music and Tori Amos music and my own artwork is work. I love to work. I like to feel a sense of purpose. I like structure and purpose. So I love work. So my OCD and my autism, and my workaholism, it works right in with me, supporting myself. I can't imagine living with anybody. I've tried living with a couple different boyfriends, but I'm really happy living by myself. I like to live alone, and I'm going to just do a video later on where I slow down and talk into the camera. I haven't done a long video. I used to do 28-minute monologues every week for 15 years on public access TV, and I would just talk about how I feel and what I think. And I think I'm going to do another one of those sometime soon. So my whole life story makes sense to me. I've compensated. Like, I'm sort of embarrassed. Like, part of me wishes that I could have gotten married and had kids or done something more normal or whatever. But I guess I never really wanted to get legally married. But I never really felt like I could have a kid. And I almost did in my 20s, and then I said no, and I sometimes regret that, but whatever, it's a sad story, but I'm not going to talk about that. I've already talked about that. Okay, so thanks for listening. This is Shannon, Kringen, Goddess Kring. My brain is scattered all over the place. I just wanted to say I'm so grateful that I'm alive and that I appreciate myself for surviving through the struggles that I have with how to interact with other people and feel comfortable. I get exhausted from a lot of interaction with people, and yet I make myself, I'm in the Fremont Fair and the Body Pride Ride and all these art car events, and I art model. I work with medical students as a standardized patient. I art model, I dog walk, I cat walk, I pet sit. I've done a lot of focus groups. I make a living in many different ways. I've sold my art. I have some subscription websites where I earn money, and I've sold hand-painted shoes, and I've done lots and lots of things, but I'm scattered all over the place. And here's one of my favorite recent drawings of myself that a lady did. I forgot her name. She's been drawing me for many years. That's a beautiful drawing of me that somebody did in my favorite green dress and my brown hat, and there it is. So I love to model for people. But it's not my art. My art is something different. But when I model, it's at least related to art. I found an art-related career. So I've been modeling for 31 years. So I think most people probably compensate. If you're going to survive, you compensate for whatever you're good at and whatever you're bad at. I compensate for what I'm bad at by doing what I'm good at, if that makes sense. Okay, bye for now. Bye. This is Shannon Kring and Goddess Kring. Bye.